Dear Stu, I had underestimated your powers of influencing me. First you call me Sidge, next you make me like you. Then you ask me to write you. Now darn it, I wish I were right there beside you.
My dearest Sarah, high on the 4th floor of the Senate office building sits a young man at a typewriter, thinking of someone far away. It has some relationship to a letter lying on the desk beside him, signed in a peculiar code of X's and O's.
I remember you picked me up in your new convertible, aptly named Passion. The night, the breeze blowing through my hair, the dance at the lake, and finally the spot down on Utah Lake. At first I was a bit afraid of you, yet before I realized it, I grew very relaxed and contented in your company.
Our very secret alliance, the Double S Club, used to hold almost nightly meetings. Sometimes on the shore of the lake, sometimes on the top of the mountain, or even in the depths of a beautiful rocky canyon. The other night I got out the pictures that were taken last summer. I failed to remember a more pleasant time.
We organized the Double S Club and left our mark upon a certain tree just a short ways up the trail. Dusk had fallen, and the stars did lend their enchantment to the scene. It was this night that we unfolded our life's history to one another.
Do you plan to come back for a visit? You may remember that I extended a very hearty invitation, and now I repeat that invitation with emphasis. When I went home for dinner tonight, I was taking off my coat and was attracted by the picture of you which stands on the dresser. Doggone, I commented. She looks better every time I look over there. Maybe she is getting used to being in my bedroom.
I'm going to be glad to see you. I hesitated because of what people might say. Then I decided I had as much of a right to travel east as west. And of course, there was no doubt which direction would prove more interesting.
Published in Y News, Sarah Mabey, who had her choice of the New York or San Francisco fairs, went east. Reasons? Stuart Crow. The odds seem to be on Grow.
The 12 days in Washington were a time that I will never forget, and one that convinced me that you were all people thought you to be. But please tell me, are we just getting too busy to write, or are we losing one another? If we care anything about one another, let's not let a few miles be responsible for such an outcome.
To me, ours is an old and valued relationship, and to permit it to fall by the wayside before we get a chance to see one another again would be an unwise move.
So you can't realize just how good it did sound to hear your voice that evening. Though I think you are the finest fellow I have ever known, I was just about convinced that waiting for you to become very interested in anyone was useless.
Ma chère amie, it was good to talk to you. I've been grinning periodically ever since. I guess I'm a pretty hard fellow to excite, but I distinctly remember a feeling of mighty pleasant attributes flow over me when you, in your very welcome tone, said, "Gee, it's good to hear your voice again."
Stu, what about this draft? Sometimes I almost wonder if we will ever get our next chance to be together again, with conditions existing as they are. But then I suppose I'm not the only one who wonders about such things, and without a little faith and hope, life's future in general would be quite black.
The War Department is calling up reserve officers for active duty. I have secured a delay of assignment for sufficient duration to permit a trip to Utah. I shall be able to leave here within the very near future. Barring accidents, acts of God, and your refusal, you shall be hearing from me personally very soon.
We dated hot and heavy for about 2 weeks. He hated to give up his single bliss, to be perfectly honest.
You know what I said? No, you won't. If you want me, you take me now. And I guess it shook him up a little bit. We did. We had a wonderful, wonderful life.